Introduction. Throughout human history, people have asked profound questions about the origins of everything, of the universe, of life, and of God. The idea of the creation of God may seem paradoxical, as in many religious traditions, God is often described as eternal, with no beginning or end. But what does that mean? And how do different cultures and philosophies approach the concept of God's existence? In this video, we'll explore what various belief systems say about the creation of God, or rather, the idea that God has no creation at all. Let's dive into these fascinating perspectives. 1. The eternal nature of God. In theistic religions, in many of the world's major religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, God is viewed as eternal. This means that God has no beginning or end, and exists outside the bounds of time and space. For example, in the Christian Bible, God is described as the Alpha and the Omega, meaning the beginning and the end. This idea suggests that God has always existed, even before the creation of the world. In the book of Revelation, 22:13, God states, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end." Similarly, in Islam, God, or Allah, is believed to be eternal and beyond time. In the Quran, it is stated that Allah is the creator of everything, but He Himself was never created. He is the first and the last, the manifest and the hidden, Quran 57:3. In both of these religions, God is not bound by time, and thus, there is no creation of God, He simply is. 2. The unmoved mover. Philosophical perspectives. The concept of an eternal God can also be found in philosophy. One of the most influential thinkers, Aristotle, proposed the idea of the unmoved mover. According to Aristotle, the universe must have had a starting point, but there must also be something that set everything into motion without itself being moved or created. This unmoved mover was eternal and beyond the realm of time. Aristotle's idea paved the way for many theological thinkers who saw this unmoved mover as God. In essence, God was seen as a necessary being that causes everything else, but has no origin or creation himself. 3. Hinduism and the eternal Brahman. Hinduism presents another view of God that is different yet similarly focused on the eternal nature of the divine. In Hindu philosophy, God is often understood through the concept of Brahman, the infinite, formless, and eternal essence that is the source of everything. Unlike other religions that see God as a personal deity, Brahman is seen as an all-encompassing force that is both transcendent and immanent. Everything in the universe comes from Brahman and eventually returns to it. The creation of the world is not the creation of Brahman, rather, it is the manifestation of Brahman in various forms. In Hinduism, God is eternal, there is no beginning or end to Brahman. The universe undergoes cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction, but Brahman remains unchanged, beyond the flow of time. 4. Taoism. The way that was never created. In Taoism, the idea of God is somewhat different. Taoism speaks of the Tao, an eternal principle that underlies and governs the universe. The Tao is often described as formless, eternal, and unnameable, much like the concept of Brahman in Hinduism. The Tao Te Ching, a foundational text in Taoism, teaches that the Tao is the source of everything in existence, but it is not itself created. It simply is. The Tao does not have a beginning or an end, and it flows through everything in the universe, yet it is not shaped by it. This view presents the idea that the divine is not something created, but rather, something that simply exists and is present in all things. 5. Science and the question of creation. From a scientific perspective, the question of the creation of God is more complex. Science is primarily concerned with the origins of the universe and life on Earth. The Big Bang Theory, for example, suggests that the universe began around 13.8 billion years ago from a singularity, a point of infinite density. While science can explain the physical processes behind the creation of the universe, it does not address the existence or non-existence of a deity or whether God played a role in the creation. Many people see no conflict between science and the belief in an eternal God, while others view the question of God's existence as beyond the scope of science. 6. Conclusion. When we talk about the creation of God, we realize that in many religious and philosophical traditions, God is not something that was created. Instead, God is often viewed as eternal, beyond time and space, without a beginning or end. Whether it's the God of the Abrahamic faiths, the concept of Brahman in Hinduism, the Tao in Taoism, or philosophical ideas like the unmoved mover, the idea of God being eternal is a common thread. Ultimately, the creation of God may be a concept that is difficult, if not impossible, to fully understand. But one thing is clear: God, in these various traditions, is not a created being, but the source and foundation of all that exists. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content on the mystery